Let's talk about the greatness of Travis Kelce, Mahomes, Skyy Moore and Karlaftis training in Texas, remember running back Joe Delaney, and take a look at the scariest quarterback in the entire NFL, and his name is not Lamar Jackson, and much freaking more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, aka the Red-Bearded 12th Man, or sometimes known as the solar-powered red-bearded babysitter for Baby Car. And I do daily news about the Chiefs and the NFL overall, so I'm gonna need you to sub if you're new, hit that like button if you, like me, are starting to get a little itchy due to the lack of Chiefs football in your life. It may also be because I'm a red-bearded football addict. But anyway, let's get into this video, starting with some player news via social media and all that fun stuff. The NFLPA shared a post about Marquez Valdes-Scantling yesterday saying this: he owns a clothing brand, an esports organization, and he's into real estate. This is an interesting dating profile, I'll say that. MVS says that his passion for all of these areas, on top of his passion for football, is what helps him to balance it all. And he's quoted saying, obviously this window is small being a professional athlete, and once you're done playing, your name won't hold as much value, so while I'm in it, I want to take advantage of it. And this is how I, Cole the Beard Man, reads what he just said. Leverage your opportunities while you can to build wealth, spreading it over multiple endeavors, not putting all your eggs in one little basket, which we can all follow in our own way, even though some of us are broke in comparison to professional football players. Anyway, there you go. Fortune Cookie Cole at your service. On a much lighter note though, MVS then shows off a nice little pasta sandwich, which does look good, but it also looks like it would put me into an instant food coma. Willie Gay Jr. is chilling, I believe, with his dog, because this dog looks very similar to his recent leg tat, and therefore confirms to me that this is his dog. Lonnie Johnson Jr. can be shown showing off the fact that he looks good in red, and then is back to training by jogging sideways in a pool. Juju Smith-Schuster played some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies, a little throwback, yesterday, and then he landed in Israel this morning, so very interesting. Wonder what he's doing there. We're about to see via his stories. Trust me, he likes to update. CEH is walking around lost in these yellow shades, and Juan Thornhill can be seen still in Greece, posing as Zeus on the beach over there somewhere. And then it looks like Travis Kelce went out for a surprise visit to his brother, Jason Kelce, who was helping put on some fundraising event, which I believe all the money of this event was being raised for the Eagles Autism Foundation. So that's pretty cool to see him swing through to help support his brother. And he was asked by this radio host if he'd consider joining his brother to play for the Eagles this season. And he answered saying,
Chris, we would like you to stay here and play for the Eagles this year. Is that possible?
I'll tell you what, you guys got a good tight end room, and I don't know if I'll find any catches in there.
All right, we do.
Which was a very nice, professional, courteous way of saying, I would rather not play for a subpar quarterback like Jalen Hurts. No freaking thank you. And since we're already talking about Travis Kelce, I saw this stat about him yesterday from Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports that says Travis Kelce is 994 yards away from becoming the 5th tight end in NFL history to reach 10,000 receiving yards, and Kelce is 280 yards away from passing Rob Gronkowski for 5th all time, and he's 1,055 yards away from passing Shannon Sharpe for 4th all time. And this is pretty crazy to think about when Kelce was out his whole rookie season due to that knee injury. So he's the same age as Gronk, but I think has played a season less. Travis Kelce is basically that guy, and Darren Waller can say all he wants about himself being the number 1 tight end in the NFL, but numbers don't lie, especially numbers that happen every single season without fail. Travis Kelce may not be the best tight end to ever play the game, but he's up there easily at top 5 already, in my opinion, and is the greatest remaining tight end playing on the field today, and that is facts.
Count on me, dog. Count on me, dog.
And then several players can be seen in Texas training with Bobby Stroop, including George Karlaftis, who can be seen getting his haircut prior to training with Bobby Stroop so he can look all nice. And then when he did start training, he was doing these weird looking demon crawl things and even like turning weirdly to look at the ceiling, kind of creepy. But then this angle shows Mahomes next to him doing the same freaking thing. There's something going on in Texas. Then he can be seen pulling some weights in a similar fashion to how he had to carry our defense a handful of times last season. And then here's the trio. Shane Buechele, Karlaftis, and Mahomes working on these bands and freezing with their hands in the air like they just don't care. Shane Buechele then walks by the camera carrying some weights, looking all strong. And then Pat is pulling weights sideways now with Bobby Stroop following him around and telling him what to do like he owns the place, because he does. And here's a couple shots of Skyy Moore, one in which he's chatting with Mahomes about how many TD passes he will be getting this season, so I like that.
That's 2-4 in Kansas City now.
And then I want to talk about some breaking Chiefs personnel staff news via a list that apparently got finalized yesterday. And here's the freaking list. You've got some assistants on there, some scouts, actually a lot of scouts, personnel executives, fellowship interns, which makes me think of Lord of the Rings, managers, coordinators, all kinds of fun stuff that's needed to help a team function. And there's no way I'm reading any more of this to you, but I have a link in the description that details this a little bit more if you'd like to check it out.
Very interesting.
And then on a more serious note, which I know rarely happens for me, but we got to talk about this. 39 years ago yesterday is the day that Chiefs running back Joe Delaney tragically passed away. He was drafted by the Chiefs in 1981 and tallied 1,367 yards from scrimmage that year at just 23 years old. So yes, he had an immeasurably bright career ahead of him, but was willing to sacrifice it all to save others on this day 39 years ago as of yesterday. Here's what happened. On June 29th, 1983, Delaney went with friends to Critters Creek, an amusement center in Chenault Park in Monroe, Louisiana. And basically what happened is there was this like pond-looking area for looks, not for swimming, but there was a steep drop-off at one point, and these kids were venturing a little bit too far out. So Delaney himself dove in to try to save these three children who were screaming for help and splashing around in the water, clearly needing the help. There were all sorts of people around, but only Joe dashed to the pond. There was a little boy there. "Can you swim?" the boy asked Joe. "I can't swim," Joe said, "but I've got to save those kids. If I don't come up, get somebody." And he rushed into the water. One boy fought his way back to the shallow part. The other two didn't. And neither did Joe Delaney, 24 years old. He was hauled out a few minutes later, dead. He gave his own life trying to save three others. So yeah, a very tragic story, but Delaney is a hero nonetheless, putting the lives of three boys he didn't know from Adam over his own in spite of not really even knowing how to swim. The fact that he was one of the only ones to rush in to try to save these kids says a lot about his character. So seriously, rest in peace to Joe Delaney and the two other boys who did not make it. All right, we got to talk about scary quarterbacks, because recently analysts and radio hosts have been sharing their top 5 scariest QBs entering the 2022 NFL season, and Bucky Brooks, I like that name, recently released an article on his top 5, and they were as follows. At 5, you have Chargers QB Justin Sherbert, mainly because of his cute hair, and then at number 4, you have Ravens running back Lamar Jackson, because, you know, he can run around really quick. Number 3 on this list was Packers QB Aaron Rodgers, which makes sense unless it's playing against him in the postseason. Then it's fine. At number 2, he lists Bills QB Josh Allen, who is a, quote, freak show at the position, possessing super-sized dimensions, big pause there, with A-plus arm talent and athleticism, end quote. He forgot to mention, though, that Josh Allen also loses to Mahomes like it's his purpose in life in the postseason, which I found a bit odd that he would miss something that important, but whatever. And then at number 1, good old Bucky Brooks lists Patrick Mahomes. Surprise! And this is what he has to say about Mahomeboy. Do not let a subpar 2021 campaign, by his incredibly high standards, overshadow the fear factor created by former regular season and Super Bowl MVP Mahomes. He has the capacity to shred defenses like cheese, cheddar cheese preferably, with a variety of laser-like tosses from inside and outside the pocket. The 6th-year pro has dazzled the NFL world with his ability to throw the ball down the field, but 2022 could give him a chance to showcase a more disciplined and patient approach Yeah, like he did like the second half of last season, you mean? With Tyreek Hill now in Miami, Mahomes might play more small ball and pick apart opponents with a barrage of passes thrown at short and intermediate ranges. If he continues to refine his approach while maintaining the fearlessness and efficiency, which is 66.1 completion rate, 105.8 passer rating, 151 TDs to 37 interceptions, that has made him so hard to stop, the Chiefs QB1 could go down as the scariest quarterback in NFL history. And sheesh, scariest in history? That's a wild prediction, Bucky. But I'm freaking here for it, so let's go, bud. So after this top 5 list from Bucky came out, the trio of Key, J, Will, and Max react to it, and Keyshawn gives his own top 5 list, and I'm going to pull it up for you right now. So yeah, interesting list. He lists Kyler Murray, the little guy, at 5, then Aaron Rodgers at 4. Then when they get to Josh Allen at 3, listen to what is said from some guy off camera about poor Josh Allen.
Okay, great. Can we stop with the Bill stuff, please? They've done absolutely nothing. They've accomplished 0, and we're acting like they've won about 8 Super Bowls.
This is about
Stop
Josh Allen.
He's done nothing. Why are we scared of Josh Allen all of a sudden?
What a little savage. To say he's done nothing, though, is a bit of a reach. But you know what? I like the attitude and the spirit of this trolling little man. So we'll just roll with it. Anyway, Mahomes is listed at number 2, and Keyshawn's reason for that is
Patrick Mahomes sits at number 2. Look, he could be 1. That would be an easy choice, but he does so many magical things, off-schedule plays, pushing the ball down the field. Sneaky runner. He is not a running first quarterback, but a very sneaky one when he decides to pull it down and go.
And finally, Lamar running back Jackson is up there at number 1. And guys, I'm going to shoot straight with you here, so listen up if you're distracted by something else. Keyshawn was more than likely high when he made this list. Now that we got that out of the way, everybody else on that show pretty much agreed with me, and I guess I'm a bit confused here how Mahomes is less of a perceived threat to a team than the Ravens running back. All you have to do is contain that man and force him to throw the ball. You do that and he'll give you some Sam Darnold-like numbers. And while I do know that containing this running back is the most difficult part and that's what makes him dangerous, but if you do that, you're good to freaking go. All trolling aside, this further illustrates my point. Listen to this. Lamar lost in the wild card round of the playoffs in 2018. Then he lost in the divisional round of the playoffs in 2019 and 2020. And then, of course, missed the last 4 games of the 2021 season due to injury, in which the Ravens lost the last 6 games of the regular season, completely collapsing to finish 8-9 and missing the playoffs. So, you mean to tell me that Lamar Jackson is perceived as a scarier threat than Mahomes to other teams when the homie can barely even win a playoff game? Nothing matters in the regular season. If you don't show up in the playoffs, just ask Aaron Rodgers. And that's where Mahomes has been deadly, making it to 4 AFC championships in a row, 2 Super Bowl appearances, winning 1 of them and getting an MVP. You know, all that good stuff. But that is why it makes 0 sense at the moment to list Lamar running back Jackson over Mahomes. I'm talking 0. And to further illustrate the painting that I've been masterfully weaving here for y'all to see, I found a poll. Not like a pole you would climb at a fire station, but a POLL in which over 1,000 people voted on Lamar's ability as a passer, and 44% of those that voted said no, Lamar is not a good passer, only when receivers are basically wide open, which even I could do that. But anyway, back to Keyshawn and company for a second here, because it was argued that Aaron Rodgers should be much higher on the list, one even advocating that he should be number 1 on the list. And I don't have a big problem with that. I agree to an extent, minus the fact that he can no longer win playoff games. But then the segment ended with everybody basically telling Keyshawn the truth, and that is, his list sucks.
That's why I would put Aaron Rodgers at number 1. I just don't know how you would put him, and even Mahomes. Those 2 guys, you would not put them ahead of Lamar Jackson.
This is a terrible list.
These real rankings, which everyone pretty much said was not good.
What are your guys' thoughts on that? Is Lamar Jackson a more feared QB than Patrick Mahomes, specifically talking about defenses and defensive coordinators trying to prepare to play against them? Is Mahomes less of a threat than Lamar Jackson? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's bicker about it down there, because I'm feeling a little bit sassy today, if you can't tell. I just chugged a cold brew, probably why. But I'm ready to talk about it. And from here, I want to give a couple of shout outs. One to Game of Clones, not Game of Thrones. Game of Clones. It sounds like Game of Thrones meets Star Wars, but I'm here for it. But he gave a $10 super thanks and just said thanks. So you're the real freaking MVP for that. And then also shout out to Justin The Way for their $5 super thanks, in which Justin says, I stopped drinking, but have an ice cold brew of mocha for me? Well, no problem. And then Justin said, have a great 4th weekend. I'll catch you on the tube. Gang. Justin also had a question about the wide receivers, asking which could be cut and how many we can hold on to. Well, off the top of my head, I think there are 12 receivers or so right now, and 5 or 6 are going to make the active roster, with another 2 to 3 being stashed on the practice squad. So I pretty much have no idea who's going to get cut, but I think some of the finalists for wide receiver 5 and 6 would be Josh Gordon, Justin Watson, and Darius Fountain. And then it's mainly Justin Watson and Darius Fountain for this reason: their ability to contribute heavily on special teams, and less of the fact that they're going to make a huge impact on the offense. But it's a toss-up for now until we get to training camp to see a bit more first. So make sure to leave a bearded comment, or in particular a super thanks to be featured in an upcoming vid. Sub for more daily news like this, and check out this video here in this bottom whatever quadrant of my video, which is from RGR, and they do a film room breakdown of Nick Bolton yesterday, and it's glorious. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?